Hey guys, Gnogart here. So my friend John and Joe commented on my last video what I think about the Brave engine and VW, and I answered that I don't want to spend the money right now for the Brave engine, which goes for about 300 euros here. So I didn't want to spend that money, but I tested a bit with a couple of decks that I found online with full Brave engine, and my issue with that is that we cut a lot of hand traps, and I don't like cutting hand traps in scythe format. Um, but then I experimented with something that I also tried in PK, which is a small Brave engine, and tried to make it consistently accessible in VW, and this is the result. So let's go over the decklist. So we just start off with the standard virtual world cards. You know the drill: 3 Lulu, 3 Lily, 3 Lao Lao, 3 Gigi. First change, we only run one Nian Yan. As you can see in the deck list, we don't run Pot of Desires, which I have here. So with Pot of Desires at 1, you are not obligated to play 2 Nian because you cannot banish it face down. We also have access to Nian anyway through emergency teleport, so that's not the big issue. And we somehow had to make space for both hand traps and the Brave engine, so that sounded like a reasonable cut for me. So next up, we still have the 3 Kowloon. We still have 3 Chenglong. So now, well, you might think, okay, now that we don't run Desires, we can actually go down to 2 Chenglong, right? Because it's not the best card to open with. But Chenglong actually synergizes with the Brave engine pretty decently, so I had it up to 3 and cut a Nian instead. Now, the double Chuche and 1 Janwu is still standard ratio because while we don't play Desires, we still use 2 Chuche in a lot of our combos. I already touched upon the emergency teleport, which will get us Nian and oftentimes also Lulu, while also presenting a disruption in getting Ghost Ogre that I still have in my deck. Now, for the Brave engine, we have only 1 Enchantress, only 1 Armesia, and 1 Fateful Adventure, 1 Griffin Rider, 1 Draco back. Now, you might think this is a lot of bricks for a 2-card engine, maybe 3 with the Foolish, but if you want, you can cut the Draco back, but it's so good. First, as a free discard for Chenglong, Janwu, anything. And secondly, just as a going second card, bouncing a card is very, very strong. Now, we have the Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial acts as a second copy of Water Enchantress. If you want, you can play Water Enchantress instead, which can also act as an extender, but Foolish Burial can also dump a Nian or Fairy Tale Snow, for example. For the hand traps, we have 3 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom pretty good against the Brave engine. So is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, very strong against Appaloosa, very strong against Brave engine. And then I thought Infinite Impermanence is just a very versatile hand trap. And for the last slots, we have Called by the Grave and the Fairy Tale Snow, we already touched upon. Now for Fairy Tale Snow, the inclusion was the last card I included because I was thinking about, okay, how do we make the small world engine accessible if we don't run the full engine, so we draw into it. So my first thought was, okay, in PK I can just go Cherubini, send Enchantress, and then the engine gets going. We can't make Cherubini here because we can't really link summon, but instead we have Beatrice. Now, then I thought, okay, we can make Beatrice to get us into the Brave engine, but then we already do make plays to get into our Brave engine and end on 1 negate. And using 2 6s for 1 Omni negate, we might as well just go into the standard Zolkin into Crystal Wing line. So then I thought, hey, we could run either another discard target like Destrudo or Snow. So that would make Beatrice get us another extender with Destrudo, which can make really strong plays. But then I thought, in the opponent's turn, sending a Destrudo was not that good because in our turn we want to send the Brave engine. However, Fairy Tale Snow, sending that in our opponent's turn is really good because then we have another disruption. So basically you turn 2 6s, which can be basically just a Lalo. Lalo bringing back Lily can get you Beatrice, which gets you your Brave engine and the Book of Moon, and that's really good for just 1 Lalo. So that's why we have the Fairy Tale Snow, and that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, now, small disclaimer here, the extra deck, I'm still experimenting with it, so a lot of those cards, I don't know whether I want them, I don't know what to include, because we have a lot of space, because we don't run the Crystal Wing package and we don't run the Kaliga package. Now, I tested with Baron de Fleur because in this deck you can make Baron de Fleur two ways. You can either go Fairytale Snow plus a Laulau or a Virtual World tuner that you increase with Chuche. Or if the opponent baits out the Griffin negate, you can still use the token, the Brave token, which is level 4, with the Laulau to go into Baron de Fleur, which then gives you another negate and also applies a lot of pressure. Coral Dragon is pretty standard. Then we have two level 7s. First, Dawn Dragster. This was also the last inclusion. I'm not sure if I really want this here, but it's still in the experimenting phase. So Dawn Dragster, pretty simple. You go Snow or token with one of your level 3 tuners. Simple. You can even E-Tailor into Rabbit if you don't have a Lulu in deck, and then do that play. Same with Yazi. Yazi, very, very strong going second because you don't have to play Mermare. We can't even use Mermare because VWs prevent us from summoning Mermare tokens. But you can go. I had a game where I went Snow and E-Tailor. So I went Snow, activated E-Teleport, got Lulu, and then synchroned those into Yazi. Yazi pop one of your opponent's cards, and then Yazi can actually summon from your deck Lily or Gigi. So then I had another Lily in hand. I used the Lily on my Lily, and then I used both Lilies to overlay for Beatrice and get the whole Brave engine going. So that was pretty cool. So next up is the Croc. Croc has been falling off in this particular version. I liked it in the more hand trap heavy version because the draw has a high chance of getting the hand trap, but there are not a lot of good level 9 alternatives, so I still have it in. Charge Warrior, even better in this deck because it can be a stepping stone for Beatrice. You can even sometimes have the Fateful Adventure and go into Stardust Charge, so you draw a card and you get the Draco back, and then you go and discard those for your plays. Vermilion, standard, Juju, just very good, Shen Shen, obviously, Beatrice, the centerpiece of the deck. M7 is pretty much a VW card at this point. Zeus is very good, so is Gaia Dragon for extra material, and Utopia Beyond for the 4 material Zeus. And as our level 3 of choice, it's still Breaksword over Fortune Tune for me. Now, that's the deck, and let's hop into some combos. So this is the first combo, so let me go ahead and add some cards. So this was a hand I drew in one game, and if you're a virtual player, you see this hand and you're like, oh my god, what do I do with this hand? This is a break. But there are actually very cool synergies that let you play out of this hand. So you can Foolish Burial. This can be Aquamancer if you have a second Aquamancer, but Foolish Burial for the Aquamancer of the temple. We banish it, and we go get the Rite of Eremisha. Activate it and get the Fateful Adventure. Then we use the Fateful Adventure to greet Griffin Rider, and we ditch the Qinglong. Then we special the Griffin Rider so the opponent cannot disrupt our VW plays that we're planning to make, which also gets us the equip. We can now banish the Qinglong to get Lulu, and discard the Draco Bat, which will then equip to the token. And now you have Lulu and E-Tailor. So let's see how far we can go with this. We special summon Nian from the deck and activate Lulu, ditch a trap, get Kowloon so we have Chuche access, get the Chuche out of the deck before going into Stardust Charge. And now we top deck the Lily. So if we didn't top deck Lily, we would have just gone Janwu, bring back Lulu, discard card, and then we can just go into Shen Shen, and we still have a Chuche pop, we have a negate, we have a Shen Shen, we have Imperm, and we're good. Now we logged out and getting into Lily, and now see what we can do with this. So we bring back the Lulu, special the Nian. We did that because we don't have space on the board for Lily into 2 tuners. Should have summoned the Stars Charge Warrior probably here, but it still works. We have a negate, we are safe against Nibiru here. So we have 2 tuners here and a level 6. So we go into Shen Shen, and then we use Lily, mill 2, mill Lao Lao, and special summon the Lily. Then we use the Chuche to increase the level of Nian so that we can go into M7. M7 will then detach the Lily to get the Lao Lao. Lao Lao will dump our follow-up spell card, because as you see we have 2 cards for follow-up. Anyway, Lao Lao brings back the Lily that we just detached, and we overlay for Beatrice. Beatrice then mills the Snow as another disruption, and In the opponent's turn, we can also detach with Beatrice to get another virtual world spell or trap. Let's see, we shuffle back the Shanwu by disrupting our opponent. Beatrice can then dump it to have more follow-up. So what looked like a brick hand does look pretty good right now. All right, let's go to the next replay. So let's start by getting our hand together. This is the combo that you all know and love. It's the, oh no, I opened Qinglong and Lily, I hope my opponent doesn't have Ash combo. So you probably know the drill. You have Qinglong and you have Lily, you mill Lulu and Janwu, bring back Lulu, go into Vermilion, pop itself, get Lulu back, use Lulu to dump a trap and get another virtual world, and use that virtual world to get your Qinglong. So we get Qinglong back, we get Lily back, and now we can actually go into our Brave place. So Beatrice will then detach and dump Water Enchantress of the Temple. Now, a lot of you will probably already notice that these Beatrice combos, where you go to Beatrice for the Brave Engine, will play into Nibiru, but as the Brave Engine gets more popular, usually the most decks that play full Brave Engine will make a disrupt before Nibiru, so Nibiru will fall off. Like, a lot of people don't like Nibiru right now, so if Nibiru picks up in popularity again, you can probably go back to a Crystal Wing combo line here. That we had Lalo and Lady and the card to set, so we could have gone Crystal Wing here as well. But let's move on with the Brave line first. So we mill the Water Enchantress, which will then get us the right. The right will special a token and get us the Fateful Adventure, which will then get us the Rider. We discard a random card, special a Rider, and get the Draco back. Then we can use the Qinglong to get another virtual world name, the last one that we didn't use, and discard the Draco back, which will then equip to the token. GG mills our follow-up, and then we use the Chu Chain Grave to increase the level, and go into Shen, set a card, get Ludo back, and Beatrice will then put a snow in the grave. So we ended on an impermanence that we drew randomly. We have a Shen on board, we have an Omni Negate, and we have Fairytale Snow for flipping down, and we have follow-up in the grave in form of the Qinglong and the Shen on the field. The standard Vermilion pop self combo usually doesn't end in Chuchie anyway, so we ended up with this. So for the last combo I wanted to show, it's just a standard combo. So you have City and let's say you have Lady. It's a lot of similar elements here, but just like not with a bad hand, but with an okay hand. So you go activate Chuche and then you activate Lily and you send GG in this case. This is a lot of thinking ahead here because you don't really need the Nian right now. So you send GG and you will see later why. So you banish, get the Lulu, discard a random card, use Lulu, dump spell, get Lao Lao. Then you make Shen first because if the opponent has Nibiru here, you still have the Shen follow up and you will have something to pop with Chuche plus whatever text you opened up with. This is the third summon, so they would have to Nibiru on the Lao Lao Resurrect. If they don't do that, we can go into Beatrice, and Beatrice is a quick effect and you still get the Brave Engine, or at least the Snow. Anyway, we activate Lao Lao, and now we dump the Nian, and we get the GG back. Right? If you had two Nians in the deck, you could have just dumped Nian at the start and then get another Nian, but here we have GG. So we got back, we go into Charge Warrior, and we chain Nian. So here I go Chainlink 1, Charge Warrior, Chainlink 2 Nian, because I wanted to shuffle the GG into the deck for a higher chance of drawing it. Because if I outdraw GG here, I have another hand effect to resolve. So that goes back to the deck, and we draw a Lily, unfortunately. So now we have two 6s on board, and we can use those to go into Beatrice, dump the Brave stuff, and now we can just do this. So you know the drill, we get the Griffin, we discard special, we get the Draco back, and then we detach for Snow. So we ended up on a Chuche pop on Shen. We have the Draco back, negate, and we have Fairytale Snow in the grave, and again we have our follow-up established. And the Beatrice, if she stays on board, also threatens a Zeus because you can attack, slap Gaia on top of it, slap Zeus on top of it. And additionally, what's really cool actually is Shen's effect. If you attack, you can actually put back the Water Enchantress. So next turn you banish the Water Enchantress again, because Water Enchantress can actually grab back the right from the grave. So then you have another access on the token, and then you use the Fateful Adventure to get the Griffin again if you used it. As for Fairy Tale Snow, we have a lot of cards here set up, but try to not banish the Qingrang, obviously, and try to not banish the right because of the Shen play that I just mentioned. In a pinch, you can banish the Beatrice on board because she doesn't do that much except being a Zeus threat. So, back to the deck list. Yeah, that's my idea for a small Brave Engine Virtual World deck. Let me know in the comment what you think. Like and subscribe if you want to see more virtual world content. I really like, since Mad Citadel came out, I'm really passionate about just making virtual world content and showing people what to do with it. And see you guys next time.